Hello, and welcome to the Elite YGO. My name is Reese, and today we have another deck profile, something more basic, something not so original, but I played this at my remote duel yesterday. Came 5th, which is decent. Went X2. My only losses were to Ryan Nelson's plant deck. If you guys are interested in seeing what that deck is capable of, there will be a link in the description. He's just such an incredible deck builder. The knowledge that man has is pretty insane. So huge shout out to Jongaa. Please go check out that video so you can see what I lost to. And I also lost to Isaac, who's also another incredible player. He was playing Dogmatika, which was what I was originally going to play instead of this. I was going to play like Dogmatika, Invoked. I was going to play like a mixture of all three. It was going to be like a 60 card absurd deck. But I decided against it to play something a bit more generic. But I've decided, truth be told, and now this could just be bad deck building or me just not knowing the true interactions this deck might have or misplays. I just found this deck a bit underwhelming. I don't think it sucks by any means, but in a format where like Haki Firebrax and Link Cross and all those insane combos are a thing, this deck just, I can't seem to make it keep up. Like, the deck is good, don't get me wrong. When combo decks become less relevant, this will be easily the best deck of the format. But for the time being, I find it a little underwhelming. But that's not to say it's a bad deck. But yeah, before we get on with the video, how's this new border? It's pretty tight. I finally decided to make a border myself. It's obviously nothing special. Got the logo, got Nikijo there. So you are always reminded to go to nikijo.com.au, use promo code ELITE5 for all your single needs. There we go. I got the plug done nice and early for you. So, with that being said, let's start the deck profile. Okay, so for the most part, this list is quite standard. So we play 3, make sure they're centered, yep, 3 Alistair. This card will probably get hit eventually. I think once like Link Cross and stuff gets banned, I think this card might get limited because this is honestly such an absurd card. And the only reason I think it's still around is because him on his own just can't seem to keep up with the format right now. But truth be told, this card is limit worthy at least. It should go to 1. This card's just insane. Then for the Dogmatika engine, we play 3 Ecclesia, 2 Fleur, and 1 Maximus. I was playing 3 Fleur at one stage because honestly, this card, even if it's not negating something, it is just a free extender to make like Anaconda. Same with Ecclesia. Like, Ecclesia is just an extender as well if you happen to draw her with like with an Adir Servant. Damn, brain fart. With an Adir Servant. This engine's just so clean, so like, I don't know, just so hard to out. It's so oppressive as well because like Fleur just makes everything so big, and it's a permanent boost. So you can actually just get your guys up to some like massive damage. But yeah, this is perfect. Maximus is low-key the best card in the deck. But honestly, like if you're versing a combo deck and you Maximus them, they're forced to get rid of at least some combo cards. Or they're just getting rid of utility that might kill you another time. So honestly, this is like so good against some combo decks. Especially if they're not prepared for you. Hand traps, 3 Gamma, and a driver. This is like pretty standard, I think. And then just for something a bit different, I'm only playing 2 Ash, 2 Vela, and 2 Nibiru. I basically wanted to make room in the deck for other cards, so I played 2 of all of them. But in another world, I would just play 3 of everything, because these are all obviously just such insane cards. Nibiru, especially against combo decks, it doesn't always win you the game, but it definitely slows them down enough for you to play through whatever board they make. And if you open like any combination of all these hand traps, then your chances are you're going to win. So, especially against like the rock deck now, it's just not as I don't know, it just doesn't seem to fight through as much anymore because, you know. And then just the last monsters, just Red Eyes and Dark Magician, the true garnets of the deck. I'll say that in every video they're in because they are. For spells, we play 3 Meltdown. This card is just insane. It really starts your plays. Also makes your fusions like unoutable. Not unoutable, but they can't negate them, which is really good. I play 1 Mystic Mine, and obviously the Terraforming. I played Mystic Mine. I'll just talk about this for a bit. Similar reasoning as my Salaman Great deck. This, you just play it, and either your opponent has no out to it, so they'll just instantly scoop, or you'll just hold it for a massive push. You'll just like eventually draw your Meltdown, and then like a really good hand, then you play over the Mystic Mine and then just finish your opponent. Against Isaac, I activated mine. He was so upset because he thought I was going to sit on the mine the whole time. But I don't generally do that unless like I don't like you. Then I'll sit on the mine and make you scoop with it. But for the most part, mine is there just to get me to a point where I can play, because boards that people make are just insane and you're not always guaranteed to go first. So the 1 is in there just in case I'm forced to go second. And I can just like mine my opponent, bait some negates, mine my opponent, and then just hold it until I have a playable hand, I guess. 3 Nadir Servant. This card is insane. It's just a 1-card combo that gets you like to a window, which is just really nice. Just 2 Invocation. I was thinking about playing 3, but the reason I don't play 3 is because if you open 1 with no Alistar, because Alistar's the only fusion material you basically have, this becomes a dead card. And the one thing this deck doesn't want is a hand with 1 less card, essentially. So I only play 2 because if you draw 1, you can search the other. But honestly, I would just play 1 because you can't just recycle it. But I always wanted Alistar to have something to search, so I just played the 2. But I think 3 is super unnecessary in this version. In the Shadol version, I would definitely play 3 because you just want to max out all your fusion cards. But that deck profile will be coming soon because I actually really find that deck really fun. 3 Forbidden Droplet. I was at the locals, I was only playing 1 in the main deck and playing 3 Mystic Mine in the main. But in hindsight, I think Droplet is just a generically better card because if you're going first, this at least gives you something to play on your opponent's turn, where Mystic Mine will just sit there and become a pretty much irrelevant card, where this card is just so much better. So I would recommend you main 3 and side the other 2 Mystic Mines. The 1 Red Eyes Fusion, because Red Eyes Fusion is the best card, facilitates the best card in the game, so you have to play it. Well, you don't have to. It's just highly recommended. Traps, 3 Impermanence. Yes, I would normally put this in the hand traps bit, but I forgot to put it there. So I actually forgot I was even playing Impermanence. What's wrong with me? Of course I was playing Impermanence. This card's just so nuts. And then just the final 2 traps, Schism and Punishment. The thing about Punishment, ironically, punished me a lot. The problem with this card is that if you're forced to use it and your hand's not good enough, then it'll really, really, really slow you down. Against Isaac, I had this set, always forced the punishment where I just know he's going to OTK me, so I had to punishment him. He would still play through the punishment because most decks can play through it these days. And then you'll come to your turn, he'll have like 1 negate, and that's just enough because you have no follow-up. You can't use your extra deck. It's just... yeah, I found punishment super awkward because most players will hold off on using the punishment, but sometimes if your opponent's good enough or their hand's good enough, they'll just force you to use it, and it'll basically seal your fate in some scenarios. For the extra deck, play the obligatory 3 links, Almirage, Gardener, and Verte Anaconda. Anaconda's just so absurd. There was one game where I only had 800 life points, so I couldn't use him, where Anaconda would have saved me the game. I would have just been able to go I would have just been able to sit on the Dark Dragoon. It's just so unfortunate. Speaking of which, though, this card, I'm not even going to talk about it. It's just so unfair. For the other fusions, 1 Macabre, 1 Purgatrio. I'm just going to mention this now. In a world where I owned 2 Macabre, I would have played 2 Macabre and a Cyber Dragon Nova. Was that the one that summons Macabre from the extra deck? I'm not sure. In a world where I own those 2 cards, I would definitely be playing them. So keep that in mind when looking at the rest of the extra deck. Just pick anything you want to cut. But yeah, I would probably play the new light Invoked monster. Something, I can't remember what it's called, but that card's really good too. Purgatrio actually OTK'd 3 people for me, so the card's still really good. I don't know why people are cutting it. For the Shadowell package, 1 Construct, 1 Upclone, and 2 Winder. 2 Winder is something I wouldn't change, because even if your opponent can play through the 1, a lot of the time they can't play through the 2nd, and they don't expect the 2nd ever, so it's pretty good. And worst comes to worst, you can just send it to the graveyard off any effect in your Dogmatika engine and just add back Schism if it ends up in the graveyard. But yeah, 2 Winder is just, I think it's mandatory, to be honest. Playing through 2 Winder is hard enough. Playing through 1, I should say, is hard enough, but if your opponent doesn't expect the second one, if they've burnt their hand trap on the first one, don't expect the second one, they go all in, and then you just go 2nd Winder. It's just, yeah, it's so sick. 2 Ash Dragon and 2 Enthus. These are probably the cards you could cut for those, for the Nova and the second Mechaba. But against like another Dogmatika opponent, I had burnt both. And obviously they didn't expect me to have one more of each, and they used Maximus, and I got the plus off it. They even said, you probably don't have anything I'm scared of in the extra deck left, so I'll just use my Maximus. Little did they know, I got to use both, another one of each, and yeah, I got to win just because of that. It was really, really sick. So, I don't know. These are cards you could cut, but if opponents don't expect you to have these, I don't know. Chances are you're probably going to win. And then just the 1 Omega, this card is like, okay, I didn't actually like use this ever. So maybe this is one you could definitely cut. I just never used it. I just found it, I don't know. I just found other cards like a lot more useful. But it is utility nonetheless. Onto this side deck, because it is a mini locals report. The final Nibiru, because this is just the best hand traps. This is the only one I wanted to play at 3 between my main and side. And then just the 1 Pankatrops, because this is just the best card in the game right now. Against Dogmatika, this is just an FTK against them. Against like combo, if you can like Dark Rule them or Forbidden Droplet them, drop the Pankatrops, this will deal with 2 cards instantly. Especially if they're dropping their Savage in defense, you could just go like Pank attack over Savage and then like pop another card. So that's just why I decided to play Pankatrops. It's just so good. The other 2 Mystic Minds for going second, because again, especially against combo decks, your deck doesn't have enough power to fight through a full board, especially if you don't open hand traps. So if you can bait a few negates on your turn and drop mine, they'll either scoop or they'll, you'll just get to wait and, blow them out later. We played the 1 Feather Duster, finally got my copy in, and 2 Lightning Storm. In hindsight, I probably should have played 3 Lightning Storm as well, because there was just a lot of Dogmatika, a lot of back row. There's a lot of stuff I fear. Even against Salad, these cards are really good, so yeah. Harpy's Feather Duster, I just want to mention this. I'm so glad he's back. This card, I've been wanting this back since I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In like 2011 or 2010. I can't remember exactly when it was. Probably 2011, actually. Honestly, I'm so glad Harpy's Feather Duster's back. It's just something I've been clamoring for so goddamn long. And I got a secret first ed, so I know it's not that impressive. It's not as impressive as like, the $200 copies, but yeah, it is what it is. 3 Dark Ruler. You can't usually OTK, so doing damage doesn't really matter. Like, you sometimes can OTK, but yeah, I'd rather just have my opponent's like monsters turned off, and then I could just make my board, go Dragoon, pop 2 cards, attack over everything, and then usually your opponent can't play through, so. 3 Evenly Matched. I just wanted another blowout spell, so like if I can draw like a, Dark Ruler evenly or like Lightning Storm evenly, just to bait negates and just, blow up my opponent that way. I find Evenly Matched is a really powerful card, especially against like Isaac. Had I drawn this, it probably would have won me the game, because Shadows just find it really hard to play out of an Evenly Matched. They'll probably just sit on Window, and you've got so many cards in your deck that just out Window naturally, so that, yeah. And like against Salad, I played Salad. This is just gave me a free win. You just bait the Raw. And sometimes they don't even have the Raw because it's not as easy to get to anymore. So, yeah, unless they hard throw it. And then 2 of arguably the best card in my side deck, and I wish I played 3. I would actually main this card. It's how good it is. Everyone's Synchro Summoning, everyone's Fusion Summoning, sometimes XYZ Summoning. This card is just insane, dude. Like, even if you're versing like a deck where you just fear Dragoon so much, you could just go flip this, call Fusion, and they just can't play. I versed Cyber Dragon. Flip, like, you'll have Mechaba on the field. In fact, this happened. I will have just Mechaba in defense position on the field. I had this set. He would summon Cyber Dragon. I would just flip this, call Fusion, and then his whole deck basically became irrelevant. He would like link into like the Link 2 guy, the Cyber Dragon, whatever it's called. I don't know the deck well enough, but yeah, and it just, yeah. These cards are just so sick. But that's the deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was nothing overly special, but like I said, the deck is good. Don't get me wrong, the deck is good. The only issue I have with it is it felt super underwhelming. But that could just be me being a bad player. I don't know. Like I said, this will be a good deck in a future where these combo decks are just irrelevant, because this controls so well, especially if you're going first. But going second, it has a slightly hard time. But other than that, I think the deck is good. So don't dislike because I said the deck sucks, because I didn't say that. I just think it's a bit underwhelming. Anyway, thank you for watching. You should probably give this video a like. Hit us with a subscribe, because we're on the road to 300 subscribers now, which is so sick. We got to 200 so quick. So if we can get to 300 even quicker, that'd be sick. And then we get to 1,000, and I might, just might, start releasing a playmat with our logo, which you can see right here. When we get to 500, maybe I'll showcase the design. Or if I get it printed eventually, you'll see it in these real deck profiles. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.